Princess Lyrie had never seen a human before the day one saved her life. She was 112 years old, which was young for her kind. The people lived for thousands of years. They were tall and thin, with skin that glowed softly and changed colors based on their feelings. When they felt happy, their skin turned gold. When they felt scared, it became pale silver. When they felt love, it turned a deep rose color that was beautiful to see. They had ruled their part of the galaxy for 10,000 years. They were peaceful people who believed violence was beneath them. They solved problems with words and treaties, not weapons. Their guards carried ceremonial blades that had not drawn blood in centuries. Their soldiers trained for parades, not battles. This was their greatest weakness, though they did not know it yet. On the day everything changed, Princess Lyrie was traveling on a diplomatic shuttle with 3 of her handmaidens. They were returning from a trade meeting on a small moon called Tellus 7. The journey should have been safe. The space lanes were protected. The flag flew on their ship, and no one attacked royalty. No one ever had. The first warning was a violent shake that threw Lyrie from her seat. Alarms screamed through the ship. Red lights flashed in the corridors. Through the window, she saw another ship, ugly and black, covered in weapons, firing at them. Raiders. They were everything they were not. They were brutal hunters who lived for violence and profit. They attacked ships, stole cargo, and sold prisoners as slaves. They feared nothing and respected no treaties. The guards rushed to defend the princess, but they were not ready for real combat. The boarding party cut through them in minutes. Lyrie heard screaming and gunfire. She smelled smoke and blood. Her handmaidens huddled around her in the cargo bay, their skin flickering with terror. The door began to melt. They were cutting through. Lyrie had never felt such fear. Her skin had gone completely white. She held her handmaidens close and prepared to die. She thought of her mother, the queen, who would mourn her. She thought of all the things she had wanted to do with her long life. The door fell inward with a crash. But it was not the who stepped through. It was a human. He was short by standards, barely 6 feet tall. He wore simple combat armor that was scratched and dented from years of use. His face was hard, with a strong jaw and tired eyes that had seen too much death. His hands were covered in scars. He held a weapon in each hand. Behind him, Lyrie could see bodies in the corridor, 7 of them. They had been alive moments ago, and now they were not. The human looked around the cargo bay quickly, checking for threats. Then his eyes found Lyrie, and something in his expression softened just slightly. He holstered his weapons and walked toward her. Lyrie's handmaidens pressed back in fear. They had heard stories about humans, primitive creatures their teachers had told them, violent and unpredictable, useful as workers and soldiers but dangerous. This human had just killed 7 raiders by himself. He stopped in front of Lyrie and looked at her. Up close, she could see that his eyes were brown, warm like earth. There was blood on his armor, but none of it was his. "You're safe now, Your Highness," he said. His voice was calm and steady. "My name is Danny Cole. I was working security on a mining ship nearby. We picked up your distress signal. Let's get you home." Lyrie stared at him. Her skin slowly shifted from white to pale violet, the color of fascination. "You killed them," she whispered, "all of them by yourself." Danny looked back at the corridor. "They were going to hurt you. I stopped them." He said it simply, like it was the most obvious thing in the world, like it was nothing special, like anyone would have done the same. But Lyrie knew that was not true. Her own guards had fallen. Her own people, with all their ancient civilization and proud history, had not been able to protect her. This human had. Danny offered her his hand. It was rough and calloused, the hand of someone who worked hard and fought harder. Lyrie had never touched a human before. She had been taught that they were lesser beings. She took his hand anyway. He helped her stand and guided her and her handmaidens through the ship. More bodies lay in the corridors. Danny had cut a path through them like a blade through silk. He moved carefully, always putting himself between Lyrie and any possible danger. His ship was small and old, nothing like the elegant vessels. It smelled like machine oil and recycled air, but it was safe. Danny's other humans took care of Lyrie's handmaidens and treated their minor injuries. Danny himself stayed close to Lyrie. He brought her water and a blanket. He spoke to her gently, explaining what would happen next. He had already contacted a rescue fleet was on its way. "Why did you help us?" Lyrie asked him as they waited. "You could have ignored our signal. They are dangerous. You risked your life." Danny was quiet for a moment. "Because you needed help, that's reason enough. But you do not know me. I am nothing to you. You're a person in trouble, that's not nothing." He looked at her with those tired, kind eyes. "Where I come from, we protect people who can't protect themselves. It's just what we do." Lyrie did not understand him. In her world, everything was politics and calculation. Every action had a purpose, a benefit, a gain. No one did anything for nothing. But this human had nearly died to save a stranger. When the rescue fleet arrived, Danny transferred Lyrie and her handmaidens to the royal ship. The officers looked at him with suspicion and something like fear. They had heard what he had done. Word was already spreading. A human had killed 12 raiders single-handedly. A human had saved their princess. Danny did not seem to notice their stares. He simply made sure Lyrie was safe, then turned to leave. "Wait," Lyrie called out. Her skin had shifted to gold without her realizing it. "Will I see you again?" Danny paused at the airlock. He looked back at her and smiled slightly. It was a small smile, tired but genuine. "Probably not, Your Highness. Take care of yourself." Then he was gone. Lyrie watched his little ship fly away until it disappeared among the stars. Her handmaiden spoke to her, asked if she was all right, but she barely heard them. She was thinking about a human with tired eyes and hands who had walked through fire to save her life. She was thinking that she had been taught wrong about many things. She was thinking that she very much wanted to see Danny Cole again. The royal court did not know what to make of Danny Cole. 3 days after the rescue, Danny arrived at Prime to return the princess properly. He had been invited by the queen herself. His small, beaten ship looked strange next to the elegant vessels in the royal landing bay. Guards surrounded him the moment he stepped out, their hands on weapons they did not know how to use. Danny walked through the crystal halls of the palace with calm confidence. He did not seem impressed by the beauty around him, the walls that sang with light, the floors that shimmered like water, the ceilings that showed the stars themselves. He had seen many strange and wonderful things in his travels. Beauty alone did not move him. The throne room was filled with nobles. They had come to see this human who had saved their princess. They whispered to each other behind delicate fans. Their skin flickered with colors of curiosity, disgust, and fear. Queen Myra sat on a throne of living crystal. She was ancient and beautiful, with skin that glowed a steady silver white, the color of wisdom and power. She had ruled the empire for 2,000 years. She had seen civilizations rise and fall. She had never seen anything quite like Danny Cole. "Human," she said, and her voice filled the chamber like music. "You have returned my daughter to me. Name your reward." This was the moment everyone had been waiting for. Humans were known to be greedy creatures. Surely this one would ask for wealth beyond measure. Perhaps he would demand a title or lands or a seat in the court. The nobles prepared to be outraged. Danny bowed his head respectfully. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I only need enough fuel to get back to the outer colonies, that's all." Silence fell over the throne room. Queen Myra's skin flickered with surprise, a rare thing for someone so old and controlled. "You killed a dozen raiders. You saved the life of my only heir, and you ask only for fuel." "I was just doing my job, Your Majesty. Anyone would have done the same." "That is not true, and we both know it. The queen leaned forward on her throne. My own guards could not protect her. 12 raiders, human. You killed them in minutes. How? Danny was quiet for a moment. Humans are different from your people, your majesty. We evolved on a hard world. We fought for survival against predators, against nature, against each other. Violence is in our blood. We are not proud of it, but we do not deny it either. You are killers. When we need to be, to protect the people we care about. Danny met the queen's eyes without flinching. I did not enjoy killing those raiders, but I would do it again without hesitation. Your daughter's life is worth more than theirs. Princess Lyrie watched from her seat beside the throne. Her skin glowed a warm gold that she could not control. She had never heard anyone speak to her mother so directly. Most beings trembled before the queen. Danny Cole simply told the truth. Queen Myra studied him for a long moment. Then she smiled, a small, careful smile that few had ever seen. You interest me, human. Very well. You shall have your fuel. But know that you are welcome in this court should you ever choose to return. Danny bowed again. Thank you, your majesty. He turned to leave, but Princess Lyrie stood suddenly. Wait, she said. The word came out before she could stop it. Every eye in the room turned to her. I would speak with him before he goes, privately. The nobles gasped. A princess alone with a human. It was unthinkable, scandalous. But the queen simply nodded. As you wish, daughter. Lyrie led Danny through the palace to a quiet garden. Real plants grew here, brought from 100 worlds. Water flowed over blue stones. It was her favorite place where she came to think. You really want nothing, she asked him. No reward, no recognition. Danny looked around the garden. His expression softened slightly. This is beautiful. You did not answer my question. Because I do not know how to explain. He sat down on a stone bench, suddenly looking very tired. I have spent my whole life fighting, princess. Wars, conflicts, security jobs. I have seen the worst things people can do to each other. When I saw those raiders attacking your ship, I did not think about rewards. I just saw someone who needed help. Lyrie sat beside him. She was very aware of how close he was. She could feel the warmth coming from his body. Humans ran hotter than. Where will you go? She asked. Back to work. There is always another job. You could stay. My mother offered you a place here. Danny shook his head. I do not belong in palaces, princess. I am a soldier, not a courtier. You are more than that. Lyrie touched his arm without thinking. His skin was rough and warm. You are a good man, I can see it. Danny looked at her hand on his arm, then at her face. Something passed through his eyes, surprise perhaps, or longing, but he pushed it away. You are kind, princess, but you do not know me. I would like to. The words hung in the air between them. Lyrie's skin had turned rose gold, a color she had never shown before. She did not know what it meant, only that it felt important. Danny stood slowly. I should go, your court will talk. Let them talk. Princess, his voice was gentle but firm. You are royalty, I am a human mercenary. There is no future in this. You do not know that. Danny smiled sadly. I know enough. Goodbye, princess, take care of yourself. He walked away without looking back. Lyrie watched him go, her skin still glowing that strange new color. She thought that would be the end of it. She thought she would never see him again. But 3 weeks later, everything changed once more. Queen Myra's spies had been investigating the attack on Lyrie's ship. What they found chilled the blood of everyone who heard it. The raid had not been random. It had been planned. Someone had paid the raiders to kill the princess. Someone wanted Lyrie dead. The queen summoned Danny Cole back to Prime. He arrived within days, his small ship once again looking out of place among the crystal spires of the palace. Someone tried to murder my daughter, the queen said. My own guards cannot protect her. They lack the instincts for violence. She paused, her ancient eyes studying Danny's face. But you do not lack these instincts. You have proven what you can do. What are you asking, Your Majesty? I am asking you to become her guardian, to protect her until this threat is found and destroyed. Danny was silent for a long moment. He looked at Lyrie, who stood beside her mother. Her skin was flickering with hope and fear. How long, he asked. Until it is done, or until you die. And if I say no, then you leave and I find another way. I will not force you. Danny thought about his life, the endless jobs, the cheap ships, the lonely nights in distant space. He thought about a princess with glowing skin who had touched his arm and asked him to stay. He thought about purpose. All right, he said finally. I will do it, but I work my way, no interference from your court. Queen Myra nodded, agreed. And so Danny Cole became the guardian of Princess Lyrie. The nobles whispered. The court gossip spread wild stories. A human protecting their princess. It was an insult. It was madness. But Danny did not care what they thought. He had a job to do. The first thing Danny did was move Princess Lyrie out of the royal palace. The nobles were horrified. The princess had lived in the crystal towers her entire life. She had servants and guards and every luxury she could want. But Danny looked at the palace and saw only danger. Too many entrances, too many windows, too many people coming and going without proper checks. Anyone could walk in here, he told the queen. Your security is based on tradition, not reality. If someone wants the princess dead, they will find a way inside. So Danny moved Lyrie to a smaller estate at the edge of the capital city. It was not as beautiful as the palace, but it was easier to defend. He hired 2 humans he trusted to help him, Park, a former combat medic with steady hands and sharp eyes, and Ben, a quiet soldier who had served with Danny in the Martian campaigns. 3 humans to protect the princess of an entire empire. The court thought it was a joke. They laughed behind their fans and placed bets on how long the arrangement would last. Surely the princess would demand to return to her comfortable palace within days. But Lyrie did not complain. She watched Danny work with fascination as he transformed the estate into a fortress. He installed sensors and alarms. He mapped escape routes. He trained her handmaidens in basic emergency procedures. You think of everything, Lyrie said one evening as Danny checked the window locks for the 3rd time. I think of everything that could go wrong, he replied. That is how you stay alive. The first assassination attempt came 2 weeks later. A gift arrived from one of the noble houses, a bottle of rare wine, supposedly sent to congratulate the princess on her safe return. It was the kind of gift that arrived at the palace every day. Danny would not let Lyrie touch it. He tested the wine himself with equipment he had brought from his ship. The results made his jaw tighten. The wine was poisoned with something called extract. A single sip would have stopped Lyrie's heart within minutes. The noble house claimed they knew nothing about the poison. Perhaps someone had tampered with the gift in transit. Perhaps it was a terrible mistake. Danny did not believe in mistakes. He increased security. He hired food tasters. He personally checked every item that entered the estate. The nobles called him paranoid. Danny called it keeping the princess alive. The second attempt came a month later. Spotted the sniper first, a tiny glint of light from a building 3 kilometers away. She tackled Lyrie to the ground half a second before the shot would have taken off her head. The energy beam scorched the wall where the princess had been standing. Danny and Ben tracked the sniper to an abandoned warehouse. The assassin fought hard, but not hard enough. Before he died, he gave them a name, a minor noble who had debts to dangerous people. Danny paid that noble a visit. No one knew exactly what happened in that meeting, but the noble left Prime the next day and was never seen again. And word began to spread through the darker corners of the court. The human guardian was not someone to cross. The third attempt was the worst. A new maid had been hired to work in the estate, Her background checks came back clean. She was quiet and no one suspected anything. But Danny watched everyone who came near the princess. He noticed small things, the way the maid's eyes tracked Lyrie across every room, the way she always positioned herself close, the slight stiffness in how she moved. One night, Danny searched the maid's quarters while she slept. What he found made his blood run cold. The maid was not really a maid at all. She was an assassin who had been surgically altered to conceal a bomb inside her own body. She was planning to embrace the princess and detonate. Danny handled the situation quietly. The maid disappeared. The court never learned how close Lyrie had come to dying. But Lyrie knew. Danny told her the truth because he believed she deserved to know. "She was going to blow us both up," Lyrie whispered, her skin pale with shock. "Yes. And you stopped her. That is my job." Lyrie looked at him for a long moment. Her guardian stood before her, calm and steady as always. He had saved her life 3 times now, 4 if she counted the original attack. He had placed himself between her and death again and again. "Why?" she asked. "Why do you care so much? I am not your princess. I am not your people. Why do you risk everything for me?" Danny was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was soft. "Do you remember what you asked me in the garden? You asked if I wanted nothing for saving you, and I said I did not know how to explain." Lyrie nodded. "I think I understand now." Danny looked at her with his tired, kind eyes. "I have spent my whole life fighting other people's wars, protecting cargo, guarding strangers who saw me as nothing but a weapon. I was good at my job, but it meant nothing." He paused. "Then I met you, and for the first time I felt like what I did mattered, like I was protecting something worth protecting, someone worth protecting." He shook his head. "I cannot explain it better than that. You give my life meaning, princess. That is why I care." Lyrie's skin turned that strange rose-gold color again, the color she only showed around him. She stepped closer to Danny and took his hand in her own. "I am glad you found me," she said quietly. "I am glad you stayed." Danny looked at their joined hands. His expression was complicated, longing and fear and something deeper. "Lyrie," he said. It was the first time he had used her name instead of her title. "I am just a human. I will grow old and die long before you. I have nothing to offer you except my protection." "You offer me everything," she replied. "You offer me truth. You offer me courage. You offer me someone who sees me as a person, not a princess. The court will never accept this." "I do not care about the court." The 4th assassination attempt happened later that night, a full assault team that breached the estate's outer walls. Danny and Ben fought them off in a battle that lasted 40 minutes. Danny took 2 bullets protecting Lyrie. He killed the last assassin with his bare hands. Afterward, as treated his wounds, Lyrie sat beside him and held his hand. She did not speak. She did not need to. Her skin glowed rose gold in the darkness, and Danny smiled through his pain. He had found something worth dying for. And perhaps, just perhaps, something worth living for too. The investigation took 6 months. Danny and his team worked with the Queen's spies to trace the assassination attempts back to their source. Each clue led to another. Each name revealed more names. What started as a simple murder plot grew into something much bigger, a conspiracy that stretched across 5 star systems. A group of noble houses had decided that Princess Lyrie was too dangerous to live. It was not hard to understand why. Lyrie was different from other royalty. She cared about the common people. She visited hospitals and schools in the poor districts, traveling in secret because she knew the court would disapprove. She had argued with her mother for hours about giving rights to refugees who had fled to space. The nobles saw her as a threat. If Lyrie became queen, she would change things. She would break down the walls between the high castes and the low. She would share power with those who had never had any. For beings who had held power for 10,000 years, This was unacceptable. So they had tried to kill her, again and again. Danny was not a politician. He did not understand the fine details of law or custom, but he understood one thing very clearly. The people trying to hurt Lyrie needed to be stopped. He stopped them. One by one, Danny visited the nobles involved in the conspiracy. He did not threaten them with words. He simply walked into their homes, past their guards, and made his position clear. "You tried to kill the princess," he told one ancient lord whose family had plotted against Lyrie for months. "If you try again, I will end your entire house. Every son, every daughter, every cousin. There will be nothing left but ashes." The lord's skin went white with terror. "You cannot do this. You are one human. We have armies." "Your armies could not stop me from walking into your private chambers tonight." Danny leaned closer. "Do you really want to test what else I can do?" The Lord did not test him. Word spread through the noble courts of a dozen species. The human who guarded Princess Lyrie was something new and terrifying. He could not be bribed. He had refused a fortune in gifts. He could not be threatened. He feared nothing. He could not be reasoned with. He had only one loyalty, and it was absolute. Some of the older nobles, the ones who remembered history, recognized what they were seeing. Humans had a word for it that did not translate well into other languages. They called it devotion. But they had forgotten what devotion truly meant. Their civilization was too old, too comfortable, too safe. They had evolved beyond the fierce loyalty that had once bound warriors to their lords. Danny Cole had not evolved beyond anything. He was human to his core, capable of love so strong it became violence, and violence so controlled it became love. 1 year after Danny had first saved Larry's life, Queen Myra summoned her daughter to a private audience. The queen's chambers were the highest in the palace, with windows that looked out across the whole shining city. Myra sat in a simple chair, looking older than Lyrie had ever seen her. Running an empire while protecting a daughter was exhausting work. "The conspiracy is broken," the queen said. "My agents have confirmed it. The noble houses have been dealt with. Some have fled. Some have bent the knee. Some have simply disappeared." She looked at her daughter with knowing eyes. "Your human has been busy." "He did what was necessary." "Yes, he did." Myra was quiet for a moment. "The threat to your life has passed, Lyrie. You no longer require a human guardian." Lyrie felt something cold grip her heart. She had known this moment would come. She had dreaded it for months. "Mother, I have watched you," the queen continued. "I have watched you with this human for a year now. I have seen how you look at him, how your skin glows when he enters a room." Myra's expression was unreadable. "I have seen things I never expected to see." "I do not know what you mean." "Do not lie to me, daughter. I am 2,000 years old. I recognize love when I see it, even when it takes unexpected forms." Lyrie's skin flushed rose gold, the color she could never hide, the color that appeared only for Danny. "He saved my life," she said quietly. "He nearly died for me, 4 times. He has taught me more about courage and loyalty than anyone I have ever known." "He is human." "Yes." "He will age. He will die. In the blink of an eye, by our standards, he will be gone." "I know." Queen Myra stood and walked to the window. She looked out at her city, her empire, the stars beyond. "Who guards you so fiercely?" she asked softly. "I have never seen such devotion, Lyrie, not from our own people, not from any species in all my centuries of rule. Who is this human who walks through armies to protect you?" Lyrie lifted her chin. "My human." "Your human." The queen turned back to face her daughter. "Is that what he is now, yours?" "He is Danny. He is the finest being I have ever known." "The court will never accept a human consort." "Then I will change the court." "Your children would be unprecedented. Half human. There is no record of such a thing in our entire history." "Then we will make history." Myra studied her daughter for a long moment. Lyrie stood straight and proud, her skin glowing with determination. She was not asking for permission. She was stating a fact. Something in the Queen's expression shifted. A small smile touched her ancient lips. "He is beneath your station." "Nothing is beneath him. He is worth more than every noble in your court combined. You would give up everything for this human, your position, your comfort, the approval of your people." "I would give up everything except him." Lyrie met her mother's eyes. "He taught me that some things are worth fighting for, worth dying for. He has proven it again and again. Now it is my turn to prove it too." The Queen was silent for what felt like forever. Then she laughed, a real laugh, warm and surprised. "You are your father's daughter," she said. "He would have said the same thing. He did say it actually when he chose me over his own family's wishes." Myra crossed the room and took her daughter's hands. "Very well. If this human is what you want, then claim him. But know that the path ahead will not be easy." "I know." "And Lyrie," the Queen's grip tightened, "tell him soon. Humans, I am told, can be remarkably dense about such matters. They need things said plainly." Lyrie smiled through sudden tears. "I will tell him, Mother, tonight." She turned and ran from the chamber, her heart pounding, her skin glowing brighter than it ever had before. It was time to claim her human. Danny was in the training yard when Lyrie found him. He was practicing combat drills with Ben, the same drills he ran every evening to keep his skills sharp. His shirt was soaked with sweat. Fresh bruises marked his arms from sparring. He moved with the fluid grace of someone who had spent a lifetime learning how to fight and survive. Lyrie watched him for a moment from the doorway. Her heart ached at the sight of him. This human who had given her so much. This warrior who had nearly died for her 4 times. This man who looked at her like she was worth more than all the stars in the sky. Danny looked up and saw her. His expression immediately changed from focus to concern. "Your Highness, is something wrong?" Lyrie walked toward him slowly, and Ben exchanged glances and quietly left the training yard. They had seen enough to know when they were not needed. "The threat is over," Lyrie said. Her voice was steady, but her hands trembled slightly. "My mother's agents have confirmed it. The conspiracy is finished. The nobles who wanted me dead have been dealt with." Danny wiped sweat from his face. "That is good news." "It means you are free, your job is done." Lyrie forced herself to continue. "You could go anywhere now, back to Earth, to the colonies. You could finally rest after all these years of fighting." Danny was quiet for a long moment. His expression was unreadable. "Is that what you want?" he asked. "For me to leave?" The question hung in the air between them. Lyrie's skin flickered through a dozen colors: fear, hope, longing, determination. She could not control it. She did not try. "No," she said. The word came out barely above a whisper. "I want you to stay, not as my guardian, not as my protector." She took a shaky breath. "As mine, just mine, if you would have me." Danny stood very still. His hands hung at his sides. His tired eyes searched her face. "Princess, I am just a soldier. I have nothing to offer you. No title, no lands, no wealth. I am not even. I am a human from a small planet in a young civilization. Your people will say you are lowering yourself." "You offer me everything," Lyrie interrupted. She stepped closer to him, so close she could feel the heat from his body. "You offer me courage. You offer me honesty. You offer me a love so fierce it terrifies half the galaxy." Her skin glowed rose gold, bright as a sun. "Do you think I care about titles? Do you think I need lands? The court will never accept me. I will change the court. I will make enemies for you. You will protect me from them, like you always have." Danny closed his eyes. When he opened them again, they were wet. "Lyrie," he said her name softly like a prayer. Her skin flashed brilliant gold at the sound of it. "I am human. I will grow old while you stay young. I will die long before you. In a century, you will barely remember me." Lyrie reached up and touched his face. Her luminescent fingers traced the lines of his jaw, the scars on his skin, though that was just beginning to appear at his temples. "Then I will have you for every moment until then," she said, "and I will carry you with me for every moment after. A century of memories with you is worth more than 10,000 years alone." Danny Cole, former soldier, guardian, and the most feared human in 5-star systems, found that he had no more arguments. He reached out and took her hand, her strange, beautiful, glowing hand, and held it against his human palm. "All right," he said softly, "I will stay." Lyrie laughed through her tears and threw her arms around him. Danny held her close, his face buried in her hair. They stood there in the training yard as the sun set over the city, two beings from different worlds who had found in each other something neither had expected: a home. The wedding was held 3 months later. The galaxy watched in amazement as Princess Lyrie of the Empire married a human. The ceremony was neither fully nor fully human, but something new, a blending of traditions that had never been combined before. Danny wore his old military uniform, cleaned and pressed but still bearing the scars of 100 battles. Lyrie wore a gown that shifted colors with her emotions, glowing rose gold throughout the entire ceremony. Some nobles refused to attend. They called it a disgrace, an insult to ancient traditions, but more came than stayed away. They had seen what Danny Cole could do. They had heard the stories, and they were curious to see this human who had captured their princess's heart. Queen Myra herself performed the ceremony. As she joined their hands together, she smiled at Danny with something like respect. "Take care of my daughter, human." "With my life, your majesty, always." 3 years later, when Queen Myra finally stepped down from the throne, Princess Lyrie became Empress Lyrie, and her human consort stood beside her. The galaxy had never seen anything like it, a human elevated to the highest circles of one of the oldest civilizations in known space. Some species were outraged, some were fascinated, some simply watched and wondered what it meant for the future. But those who had watched Danny Cole kill 12 raiders understood. Those who had seen him take bullets and blades for his princess understood. Those who knew what humans were truly capable of understood. They had forgotten something that humans never could, that love and violence were not opposites but partners, that the fiercest protection came from the deepest devotion, that the small, short-lived, supposedly primitive humans carried something in their hearts that older species had evolved beyond. A capacity for absolute loyalty that burned like a star. Years passed. Danny grew older as humans do, spread through his hair. Lines deepened on his face. He moved a little slower than before. But he never stopped guarding his empress. Every morning he walked 3 steps behind her, his eyes scanning every crowd for threats. Every night he checked the locks on their chambers. Every moment he remained ready to give his life for hers. Visitors to the court would ask about him sometimes. Who is that human who follows the Empress everywhere? Why does she keep him so close? And Empress Lyrie would smile, her skin glowing that beautiful rose gold color that everyone had come to recognize. "Who guards you so fiercely?" they would ask. "My human," she would answer, "my Danny." And everyone who heard understood that she was not speaking of possession, but of belonging. Of two beings who had found in each other something the galaxy had forgotten was possible. When Danny Cole finally died, at the age of 93, he passed peacefully in his sleep with Lyrie holding his hand. She wept for a full year. Her skin dimmed to pale silver and did not brighten for decades. But she never forgot him. In her private chambers, she kept his old military uniform. His weapons hung on her wall. And every night before she slept, she would touch the simple gold ring he had given her on their wedding day. She ruled for another 2,000 years, the greatest empress that had ever known. She changed the court as she had promised. She gave rights to the common people. She opened the empire to refugees and outcasts. And she told the story of her human to everyone who would listen. A love worth killing for. A love worth dying for. A love worth living for. A love worth remembering forever.